Today, we're diving into a powerful philosophy for getting through this chaotic world we're all living in. And it really boils down to one fundamental choice. Do you chase those high-risk, high-reward moments, or do you build a foundation of unshakable stability? Let's figure out which path really offers the biggest prize.
So, let me ask you something. Do you ever find yourself just endlessly scrolling trying to guess what the market's going to do tomorrow, or what the economy will look like in, say, 6 months? It's exhausting, right? It's this constant low-level buzz of anxiety, always trying to guess what's coming around the corner.
But what if there was a better way, a strategy that lets you ditch the crystal ball and the sleepless nights for something way more reliable? That's exactly what we're exploring today, a major shift from trying to predict everything to simply being prepared for anything. Okay, so first, let's talk about a cycle that so many of us get caught in. I like to call it the prediction trap. It's this constant game of trying to guess what happens next, and honestly, it's a game that is almost impossible to win.
I mean, just think about the sheer number of unanswerable questions that are thrown at us every single day. You've got geopolitical conflicts,
global health crises. It's just this non-stop fire hose of uncertainty. And that is the perfect recipe for making panicked, poor decisions.
And then, of course, there's the big one, the market. Will it go up? Will it go down? You know, even the top experts, the people who are literally paid millions of dollars to get this right, they're wrong all the time. So here's the reality check. If they can't consistently nail it, what on earth makes us think we can?
This quote, "Man, it really puts our place in the grand scheme of things into perspective. It forces you to be a little humble. See, we aren't the ones driving these massive global events. We're more like blades of grass on the roadside. We get affected by the traffic for sure, but we are not in control of it. And just acknowledging that, that's the first step to a much, much saner approach to life."
So if prediction is a trap, then what's the alternative? Well, this brings us to the core idea of this whole philosophy, the anchor of stability. This is all about building a foundation that can withstand any storm instead of trying to perfectly navigate your way through it.
This comparison here really reframes how we think about value. Look, that option on the left, it's tempting, right? Quick, huge returns. But that path comes with an insane amount of stress and volatility. Now, the option on the right, earning slowly but surely over a decade, it builds something far more valuable than just money. It builds a reliable, stress-tested foundation. And listen, this isn't just some abstract theory. The person who came up with this philosophy, he learned this the hard way while trying to grow his own business. Growth sounds amazing, but as he found out, it has a nasty habit of uncovering all sorts of problems you never even knew you had.
And here's what that actually looked like. One location? Totally manageable. But when he expanded to 4 or 5? Whoa. Suddenly, he was slammed with revenue shortfalls, complicated tax and legal messes, and a wave of customer and staff problems the old systems just couldn't handle. Every single step of growth introduced a dangerous new layer of risk.
So if risk is basically unavoidable, how do we handle it intelligently? Well, that brings us to a really simple, practical framework. It all boils down to just asking yourself 2 questions before you make any big decision. We can call this the risk decision framework. It's not about trying to avoid risk altogether, because you can't. It's about understanding it completely. It's about walking into any high-stakes situation with your eyes wide open to every single possible outcome, good and bad.
And here they are, the 2 questions. First, what if you win? You need to define exactly what success looks like. But just as important, maybe even more important, is the second question. What if you lose? What is the absolute worst-case scenario, and can you live with it? If the answer to that is no, then the risk is just too big. It's really that simple.
So why go through all this trouble? Why be so deliberate and careful? Because the ultimate goal of this whole philosophy, it's not just about piling up money, it's about achieving something much, much deeper.
You know, this advice comes from a place of really painful experience. When the speaker says he's shed a lot of blood, he's talking about the very real emotional and financial cost of learning these lessons. This isn't just some academic idea. This is hard-won wisdom.
And this brings us to the ultimate payoff. The real return on a stable, well-thought-out life isn't just financial. It's what the Vietnamese call sup in an, a deep, profound sense of peace of mind. It's the ability to sleep at night knowing you've prepared for the storms and protected your family.
I love this analogy for thinking about the benefit of preparing for the worst.
If you build your systems, your finances, and your mindset to handle a 50-kilogram crisis, then when a normal 20-kilogram problem comes along, it feels like nothing. It's effortless because you've already built up a buffer of strength.
Let's wrap up with this really powerful warning. The biggest danger we face often isn't the external market or the economy. It's our own overconfidence. It's becoming so convinced that we're right that we don't even bother to consider the possibility of being wrong. That kind of subjectivity, that's what can truly lead to ruin. So, as we finish up, I'm going to leave you with this question to carry forward. As you face your next big choice, your next investment, your next risk, have you only planned for victory, or have you also wisely planned your retreat?